Hey friends, today's video we are looking at how much money I actually make in my reselling business. This is reselling on Poshmark and eBay. This is YouTube. This is affiliates. This is digital products. My entire business as a whole. I am going to be sharing my gross for 2022 with you all the way down to my net after taxes. So I am taking out shipping. I'm taking out fees. I'm taking out cost of goods. I'm taking out expenses. I am showing you what I am saving for taxes, showing you the behind the scenes of what it really looks like to have a reselling business. Now, do keep in mind, friends, that I am a reseller, but obviously I'm also a content creator, and with that comes digital products, courses, affiliate links that I have. That number is going to be in these numbers that we're looking at. However, I will show you a breakout of where these numbers are coming from so you can see realistically how much is coming from my social media content and affiliates and dashboard, that part of my business, as opposed to how much is coming from my reselling business. Really looking deep into these numbers, and then I will be breaking down these numbers. I'm showing you full disclosure, my profit and loss statement for 2022. Before we get into the actual numbers, just so you guys have an idea of what we're looking at, if you're new to my channel, I am a reseller on Poshmark and eBay. I work flexible hours to be home with my kids. On average, over the course of 2022, I would say it was about 15 hours a week reselling, with taking the entire summer off and all of the kids' breaks off. Off meaning I'm only shipping and answering questions and doing offers. I'm not doing my normal 15 hours a week. I'm doing maybe 30 minutes a day. So I'm averaging 15 hours a week, and then I said 30 hours or 30 weeks out of the year I am working. I resell women's fashion on Poshmark and eBay. I get really deep into all my numbers if you guys want to see like the nitty gritty of a lot of these things. Not the sake of today's video, but I do women's fashion. I have moved away from liquidation. Last year I was doing, 2 years ago now, 2021, I was doing liquidation mainly because of where we're at in the pandemic. This year I moved towards doing more thrifting, and we're going to see the impact that this had on my cost of goods. And let me tell you, friends, it was a good impact because 2022 was not a great year. Things were down over the course of the year. However, my net is not showing that. And we'll get into all of the numbers as we get into it. I just want you to have a little bit of background on what I am. Obviously, you're watching me on YouTube, so I bring in, money from YouTube. I bring in money from affiliates. I have coupon codes and stuff for products that I use. It is not a main strategy in my business, and you guys will see it in a minute in the chart that I share with you. But I do want full disclosure so you can see this, as well as I do have dashboards and courses and other ways to help resellers in their reselling business. So that's the background. Let's get into the nitty gritty. This is going to be a meaty video, so we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Like I said, we're going to start with my profit and loss, and then we will go ahead and take a look at how it's split out, right? So how it is split out between the different parts of my business. And because I am doing an annual video this year, I wanted to bring in how this compared to my 2021, because I think it's important. It's a vastly different year, and I think it's really important to kind of compare ourselves to our previous year so that we can make good decisions about our business. So 2022, I'm going to say this is not completely closed. I am filming this on January 9th. I'd say this is about 97% closed. I'm still waiting. YouTube doesn't pay out until the end of the month for the previous month, and then obviously returns. I have 30-day returns on eBay, so some of these numbers can move slightly, but this for the most part is the main gist of what happened for me in 2022. Y'all, I worked 15 hours a week, 30 weeks out of the year on my schedule from my house, and I grossed $109,000. Before we get into it, because this is not my take home, I want to show you my take home is much less, but y'all, this is ridiculous. I am beyond ecstatic to be able to have this for my family so that I can stay home. I have 3 neurodiverse kids. It allowed me to stay home during the pandemic. This is ultimately amazing. If you guys want to learn how to make this kind of money reselling, do make sure to subscribe. You can join my memberships as well. All right, so let's get into, this is, like I said, my profit and loss. This is just how a profit and loss statement is set up. The next thing is my cost of goods. So I sold in the year of 2022. Like I said, this is going to fluctuate slightly for returns, but I just wanted to get this video done towards the beginning of the year as I'm going into the next year, making some goals for myself. I sold 3,175 items. I had 167 returns. The majority of those returns are going to be on eBay. Poshmark, doesn't allow returns. Maybe I got 3 returns that got pushed through for whatever reason. So that's an average of a 5% return rate. In women's fashion, that's about comparable. If I look at my eBay numbers, it'll show you your return rate compared to others in your category. I'm always right on there. I do measurements in my photos, but I do have free returns turned on. And so that's kind of where we're sitting at with that. So my cost of goods sold. To sell these 3,175 items, it costs me $1,700. And I didn't put in what this would be. Let me do the calculation for you guys real quick. What my average cost of goods is per item. That puts me at $5.37 roughly cost of good. If you guys follow me, you know this is dramatically different. Lower because I was doing liquidation before. And we're going to look at why I really chose to do this year. And I'm so glad that I did, because my sales were down. As we were going into the pandemic, as we were going kind of into a recession, my sales were definitely down. We'll look at that in a second, but I want to look at what my gross profit is. So my gross profit, this is taking my gross, my top number includes shipping fees, like everything at the very top. It includes all of that. My profit after I'm taking out my cost of goods is $92,000, which puts me at a gross profit margin of 84%. So now I want to look and compare this to 2021 and really talk about the business strategies that I put into place, thinking into the future and things that I'm going to be doing in 2023. So if you guys follow me or you watched my video this time last year, some of the strategies I was putting into place, not knowing what the economy was going to do, but I'm so glad that I did, is I was moving away from liquidation. I had a high cost of goods and moving more into thrifting, into the bins, lowering my cost of goods. The reason for me to do this last year, before I knew what the economy was going to do, is I wanted to keep my reselling where it was, not necessarily grow, and focus more on the other aspects of my business. I enjoy the reselling part of it, but I didn't want to grow my store to grow my income. I wanted to grow my social media content. I wanted to mentor people. I wanted to teach. I wanted to provide more tools and analytics. That's really where my focus was, as well as taking more time away from my business because I was subbing at my kids' school a lot more in 2022. I went to school to be a teacher, so I enjoy being in the classroom, but I also was helping out the school. If you remember this time last year, rates were just completely outrageous and schools were talking about having to close, and I didn't want the school to be impacted, so I started subbing more. So I wanted to lower the hours that I was working in my reselling business, but crunching the most money out of it as I could. So let's take a look if it worked, and I'm going to tell you, friends, spoiler alert. Okay, so last year, 2021, I definitely grossed. This gray we're looking at right now is 2021. I sold more items down here, 3,434, roughly slightly less than 300 more items I sold last year. That's, I think, large in part because of the economy and oversaturation in the marketplace. I have lots of videos on that and what I'm doing to try and combat that. Not the point of this video, but check out some of my other videos. And then you can see here my cost of goods was $28,000, friends. That is $11,000 more. Let me get you the average per item that I was spending more, 0.64 divided by 3,434. $8.33. So roughly $3 more an item. And friends, it may not sound like that much, but look at here. My gross profit, I was up, 2021, I did $124,000 gross and only $109 last year, 2022. However, I am only down by $3,000 because I worked hard on lowering my cost of goods. And here's what I really want to focus on, because I worked very hard. It was not by chance, friends. Check out some of my videos. I follow my numbers. I make strategic decisions about my numbers. And I'm telling you, in this coming year, 2023, we have to do this more than ever, as the economy is just going crazy right now, as we're getting more saturation in the marketplace. I have lots of videos. Make sure to subscribe, join my memberships to support content like this. But I'm going to tell you this. So last year, 2021, I was at a 76% gross profit, right? So of how much I sold after you took out of after you took out of the cost of goods, my gross profit, the percent was 76. I increased that by, 8%. That's outrageous, friends. Look, that means that I'm only, even though my sales were down, I sold 300 less items. I was actually running a significantly more efficient business. And keep in mind, I cut my hours as well. I was subbing more and I was taking more time off to be with the kids while the percentage increased. Yes, that number, ultimately, at the end of the day, I made less money, but on a percentage basis, on an hourly rate basis, I was increasing it. And I'm telling you, friends, check out some of my videos from this past year and moving into the new year, because I'm working on this even more, squeezing as much out of what I have as possible, working smarter and not harder. Okay, so I want to look at the hourly rate for the gross profit, right? We're at the gross. We still have to take shipping fees out. We still have to take expenses out. And then we still have to look at what we're saving for taxes. So this is not what I took home this year, friends. This is just the very top of the profit and loss. We're going to keep on going all the way down. But at a gross profit hourly rate, on average, working 15 hours a week around my kids' schedule, and also taking summers and breaks off. Remember, this is 15 hours a week, including social media and including reselling. I do want to say, and we'll get to this in the expenses, but I didn't say this at the very beginning. So if you guys do not follow me and you're like, how in the world are you doing this, Sarah? I do have virtual assistants, right? So this is not strictly me. I'm not doing all of this on my own in 15 hours, but we'll get into how that impacts my bottom line because of the expenses. My hourly rate is $243 an hour right now, friends. That's amazing. I just can't. I mean, it's slowly built up to be this way. It did not start out this way, but now I want to come on over and look at the Splitout, because I'm sure you guys are wondering right now, okay, all well and good, Sarah, but I am only a reseller. So what does this actually look like for you on my whole business, right? So I'm going to show you guys that chart right now, split it out for the entire year. Where is this income coming from? Look at here, 64% of it is coming from eBay. And then 26% of it is coming from Poshmark. I am a reseller. The other aspects of my business, yes, they are, and we'll look at the percentages in a minute, they are absolutely contributing to this, but I am a reseller who makes content, right? I am doing the legwork. I am making that money. The majority of that money is coming from reselling, and it's coming from eBay is the biggest piece of the pie. I'm actually thoroughly surprised that Poshmark was as high as it was. My eBay this last year, 2022, maybe I'll do a video on it. My eBay this past year, it was like in the crapper until the last. Done lots of videos on what I've done, but it was my eBay. My Poshmark stayed about consistent. My eBay was not great. Not the point of this video, but it is coming. The majority of that money is coming from reselling. So you can see here the whole two is just like a hold line in donations and like taking out if I buy items and then I have to get rid of them, right? Like I don't sell them. So obviously that's a small portion. Dashboards. So dashboards, it says dashboards, but these are digital products. These are courses. These are the golden formula. I have PDF downloads. You know, all the digital products that I have for sale is 6.7% of my business. 6.7% of that $109,000 is coming from dashboard sales. You can see here, y'all, YouTube. You're watching me here. I do lots of videos, but it is not even 1% of my business. I do not get paid on YouTube. I mean, I do. I do have ads. You guys might have to click off an ad here or there, but it is not making up a large percentage of my business. Absolutely not. Affiliates as well. I am not even at 1% being paid of that number. Not even 1% of that is coming from affiliates. As I mentioned earlier, this is not a main part of my business. I have in links down below, I have links of things that I use because if you're watching my videos and you trust me, you want to know what I use, and I want to be able to provide you with that. I think I've done 1, maybe 2 videos. That's to go pick up my kids. See, part-time reseller here. Have to go get my kids in a few minutes. I think I've done maybe 1 or 2 paid promotion videos, and it was ultimately inventory. They're like, hey, I'm going to send you this inventory. Will you do a review on it? Those are the only paid promotion videos that I have done. All of the other affiliate things are things that I just actually use in my business. And if I become an affiliate, I can provide you guys with a 20-30% off coupon. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us. But you can see here, friends, I'm not making money at it. I mean, I am. Amazon is also affiliates. I'm making 0.08% from Amazon affiliates as well as for my regular affiliate. So that is where the bulk of the money is coming from. I'm definitely a reseller, friends. I did the wrong one. I'm definitely a reseller. I am getting, other parts. I'm getting money from other parts of my business, but I do resell. That is the bulk of my business. Now, I am going to say, I'm going to talk a little bit about my goals in today's video. I'll share with you with it now, some of them. I am really enjoying, we're going to get to all the numbers, don't worry, friends, but as I go through this and I look at my, strategies and my goals for the new year, I want to share them with you to stay accountable, and also share with you guys how your year was, how your 2022 was compared to your 2021. Mine was definitely down, but lowering my cost of goods was such a saving grace for me to not impact my margins. I actually increased my margins for my gross profit as much. But my goals going into the new year. So last year I was like, hey, I just want to steady my reselling and really make it as efficient as possible, and then grow my social media, grow my teaching and selling. And coming into 2023, I made a list on personal and professional, all the things that really make me happy and bring me joy. I like where I'm at with reselling. I don't want to grow my store. I don't want to source more. I don't want to take more photos. I don't want to list more. I'm happy where it's at. I do want to squeeze as much out of that as I can. So I'll be working this year on making those numbers even more efficient as I can, but it's not going to be by sourcing more and listing more. It's going to be by other strategies that, regardless of what you guys are doing in your reselling business, you're going to be able to squeeze a little bit more out of those margins, especially as the economy is going down. What I want to focus on, I did this whole list. I want to focus on my children, absolutely, and that's something that I did a lot last year, but I really want to focus. They're great ages right now. Well, one's 17, which is a great age. He's 17, but he doesn't really like to do so much stuff with us so much anymore. But my younger kids are almost 6 and then 8, and so over spring break, over the summer, these are just such fun ages that we can go out and do so many cool things. I want to focus on that. I've really enjoyed reading. Let me know what kind of books you guys are reading down below. I've really enjoyed reading again this past year. I want to increase that a little bit more. I enjoy teaching. I spoke at Ebay Open 2022 this year, and I loved it. I loved being able to teach to people, to talk and communicate and network with the community and teach them my expertise, which is data and analytics. So social media, you should see me a little bit more coming up with more tools and analytics that you guys can be using to help in your business. So I'm going to be focusing more on that aspect of my business, keeping reselling as steady as I can right now. I'm seeing a decline because of the economy. Lots of videos on that. That's kind of where we're at. Let's continue to look at the rest of this profit and loss statement. All right, my selling fees, let me make this a little bit bigger for you, friends. All right, my selling fees we're looking right here, 1,800. No, that's a lie. That's not how you say that. number. Talking for 20 minutes straight will do that to you. $18,414 were my selling fees for the year. And what's interesting, and I talk about this on my channel, and I'm going to be working on this, is you can see 2021, my selling fees were actually less, even though I sold more items. And something that I noticed as I was going through on eBay, my sales were declining. I was promoting at 2%. And in order to get my sales back up to what they used to be or even remotely close, I had to increase my promoted listing fees, which you are seeing here. It costs me more money, and we're going to see this in my margins, but it did cost me more money to sell this year from a fees perspective because the market is getting saturated. There, in women's fashion at least, the market's getting saturated, and if all of the women's fashion are promoting at trending, then in order to keep up and be seen on the platform, I have to do the same. So those some strategies that you're going to be seeing me try out in this coming year, and I'll share them with you as well, whether they work or not. And then shipping is pretty much a pass through. You can see it cost me a little bit more this year, but shipping rates also went up, right? So that's kind of what it is. No big changes there. That makes my contribution margin. If you guys track your numbers, I'd love to hear people's percentages. Not many people share these numbers, and so I'd love to hear kind of what the normal is. I'm just sharing what mine is. It is what it is, comparing to myself and how I did compared to last year. So you can see I'm down $4,000 from last year, but I'm still at $58,000 selling on Poshmark and eBay and social media. That is a 53% contribution margin. Again, you can see, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. I'm up 3%. Right? So here's what you're going to notice in all of these numbers. Something I want to point out. When we're looking at just our gross profit, looking at lowering my cost of goods, I was able to increase my margins 8%. However, I'm only at 3% now because I had to pay more for promoted listings to get those sales, right? And this is where, friends, coming into this new year and running a business, you have to pay attention to these numbers. If I didn't lower my cost of goods and I had to hire my promoted listings, my margins would be in the gutter, right? It would be terrible. I'm actually up right now because I pay attention to these numbers and I make decisions based off of these numbers and based off of what the market's doing and strategic decisions. So I'm not up as much as I was, but here's the thing, friends. I didn't make as much as I did last year. Kind of disappointing, but I ran my business significantly more efficient, which I'm pretty proud of, especially because that was my goal. I spent a lot of time and energy figuring out how to do it, and it worked, especially when the economy is kind of in the crapper. So now let's look at expenses. This is what it cost me to run my business, what I was paying for. We're talking paying for poly mailers, we're talking paying for bins, we're talking paying for virtual assistants. I'll share with you guys my expenses. Let's look at it for the year. I'll share with you my expenses for the year, and you're gonna see this is for every month. All of the expenses. Talk to your CPA about what you can claim. I am not a CPA. I'm just sharing with you what my CPA has told me I can claim and what the percentages are for me. So things are other shrinker loss. This is items that I'm getting rid of. Donation. These are items that I've purchased and I get home and they have a hole and I cannot take them back. Virtual assistants. I don't know if you're noticing what the biggest chunk of my business expenses are. It's absolutely virtual assistants. For me, and I've done videos on it, I'll link a video up above if a virtual assistant's right for you. For me, absolutely. I work 15 hours a week. There's no way I could be at this gross revenue without a virtual assistant. It may not be right for you right now. It may not ever be right for you right now. You have to look, again, it's eating into my margins. Oh, let me move my face so you guys can see. It's eating into my margins, so you have to pay attention to those numbers and make good decisions about those numbers. Other things, office supplies. I have a website, a personal website that I sell my digital products on. I do pay for List Perfectly. I do some consignment, which counts as a fee. You know, you have banking fees, you have transaction fees, or like, I'm an LLC, I have to pay for that. Phone, internet, electricity, I work out of my house, water, trash, travel. I traveled a little bit more this year, mainly to go to eBay Open headquarters to prepare for that. Meals and entertainment, similar there. Marketing, administrative, IT, and then affiliate payments. The affiliate payments from the expense standpoint, I used to have an affiliate program where I would pay people to promote my digital products. I've since gotten rid of it, but at the beginning of the year, I did have that. So that's where that money is coming from. And something that you'll notice, and this is why you have to pay attention to your own business. Let's look at how this compares to 2021. My expenses were higher this year. And the reason that this is because of my virtual assistants. As I went into the new year, I, was trying to maintain my reselling and then working into the social media, working into spending more time making digital products, making all of that stuff. And so I did pass on, I increased my hours for my virtual assistant, and I passed on a lot of the administrative tasks that I was doing so that I could free up my time to make more content, free up my time to go to eBay Open and create a presentation for them, to create, last year I created quite a few downloadables. I created quite a few spreadsheets for resellers to use, and I was able to do that in the minimum hours that I worked because I passed on some of the administrative work onto my virtual assistant. It did come at a price, right? I did end up paying more expenses last year because of it. So let's look at what that did to my profit before taxes, right? So we're almost to the bottom line number. I know this is a beefy video, friends, but it is so important to understand, to look, to reflect, to know what all of these numbers mean. And honestly, you don't see this very often in the community. There's so much great information out there. When I was starting, I was like, what are these numbers for other people? I couldn't find it, so I'm sharing it with you guys. So I appreciate, if you guys do like this content, do make sure to save it, share it, leave a comment, share it with other people that you think might like it, and consider joining my memberships at whatever level that works for you to help support my content. Profit before taxes. So you can see I am down here, 41,000. So this is taking out my expenses. Now we're at my gross, less COGs, less shipping, less fees, less expenses. I'm at $41,000. You can see it's about $6,000 less than it was last year. That's coming from, I didn't sell as much. It's coming from my cost of goods were actually better, but it's coming from I didn't sell as much. My shipping fee or my selling fees were higher because of eBay, and my expenses were slightly higher because of our virtual assistant. However, friends, I'm still making $92 an hour. On my schedule around my kids. My kid's sick. I don't have to call in. I just do what I can because I'm the boss. And so this is going to put me at a 38% profit before taxes. So I'm right about the same percent. And so this is something that I am going to be working on. Up here, I focused really hard on my cost of goods and was able to increase my gross profit margin up here. However, because my selling fees increased and my expenses increased, it puts me about the same percentage as I was last year. And going into 2023 with the market, I talk a lot about this on my channel right now. Things are happening, paying attention to these numbers. I'm not just going to sit back and write it out. Well, I am going to do that. I'm not going to sit back. I am going to write it out and see what's happening. But for me to be able to make more money, it's going to be working on some of these numbers, working on my expenses. Can I figure out how to lower my expenses, even if it's just slightly, to kind of squeeze as much money out as I can as my sales are staying low or steady. I'm not increasing my listings. I'm not increasing my store. The market is not doing great for me. I'm sharing full disclosure videos on what I'm seeing in women's fashion right now, and it's not great, to be honest. So where can I work on it? Selling fees, shipping, expenses, those are all places that I can try and squeeze as much money out as possible. So now we're looking at how much money do I make after taxes. And I'm going to tell you, I am not a CPA. So before I share this number with you, full disclosure, I am not a CPA. This number is just based off of, sorry, I have to keep moving my light. I have a really big window, but it's like the afternoon sun. So it like goes behind a cloud and then it gets dark. Anyway, so I am not a CPA. I'm hoping to get a CPA on a live, one of my Friday lives within the next couple of months before taxes, so you guys can ask them all of the questions. I'm not that. I am just telling you what my CPA tells me to do. And that is saving 20% federal, because that's a federal tax rate, 15% self-employee tax, and then I'm in Colorado, and that's a 5% state tax. Now, that puts me at a 40% tax rate. I am going to tell you, because we have 3 dependents, well, 2 every other year, because my oldest is my stepson, so we don't claim him every year. Anyway, and then because of what my spouse claims on his W-2, the way that CPAs work their magic, I haven't had to pay the 40%. However, that is what I save for when I do taxes. I am ready to pay the 40% if I absolutely had to. That's right where we're at. And I don't think that this number is... Oh, I have a calculation wrong. Sorry, friends. Let me fix this calculation real quick. I was giving you the wrong number. Okay. Here we go. So I had a calculation wrong, and I wanted to fix that before I share the number with you. So here we are, friends. My profit less taxes. Again, I usually end up making more than this, but as of right now, this is what I have saved for taxes. I'm at $24,973.16. That's an hourly rate of $55 an hour. Now, that is not... I mean, if you look at it, I grossed over $100,000. You know, I can say I'm a 6-figure seller. This is the money that I'm actually making. This is what it means to be a reselling business. That compared to last year, look, I'm only down about $4,000 compared to last year, even though I was down almost $20,000 gross. If you guys like this, do make sure to subscribe. Consider joining my memberships. You can do it as low as like $1 a month to help support this content and make it so I can make more content and focus on this aspect of my business. If you like this video, YouTube also thinks you'd like this video, I will link a playlist down here of how to make money reselling, and then I will, or make sure to hit that subscribe button.